So last week we spoke about Tkiyat Shofar, about blowing the shofar. We spoke a few halachot about blowing the shofar. And I thought today, speaking about something different, also connected to Rosh Hashanah, and also something with halacha in it, and also something with more maybe of a hashkafa, or something with mind, or thinking about what we do in Rosh Hashanah. We will start first from the shofar. It could be we mentioned it last week, I don't remember, about the blessing of blowing the shofar. And as probably we mentioned, I think, last week, the blessing for blowing the shofar is lishmoa kol shofar, to hear the voice of the shofar, the sound of silence. Now, it's not the sound of silence, it's the sound of the shofar. And the mitzvah of Rosh Hashanah is just to listen, which is very interesting. We don't have so many mitzvot. I'm not sure if we have any other mitzvot that are also, we do it when we are passive, and also we have a bracha on them. For example, we have a mitzvah of sitting in the sukkah. So it's something active. We go to the sukkah, we move to the sukkah, and we say a bracha on it. We have a mitzvah of wearing tzitzit, and it's something active. We wear the tzitzit. We have a mitzvah to read Megillah. So we have a mitzvah to read the Megillah, and here we fulfill it by someone else reading it, and the halacha of shomea keoneh, someone who listens, it's as if he himself is reading, as if he's saying. So by listening to the Megillah, we're doing an action of, as if we're doing an action of reading the Megillah. With shofar, the mitzvah is to hear shofar, at least according to the Rambam, and that's the bracha we say, to hear the shofar. Yes, it's true, we need to have someone blowing it for us. Someone who blows for us needs to be someone who is obligated, but it's just interesting to think of a mitzvah with a bracha, which is relatively passive, and that's something interesting about Rosh Hashanah. We'll go to a different topic, completely different topic, and that is the Simanim we have on the night of Rosh Hashanah, and the blessing of Shehecheyanu we have on the second night. So we'll start with the Simanim, and the halachic question we have before we get to more of a hashkafa question is, what bracha do we say first, or what blessings do we say? So usually the way most people do it, they do Kiddush, obviously, because you can't eat before Kiddush. And then they wash hands, and then they have the Simanim. They have the dates, they have the apple and honey, dip the apple in the honey, they have the pomegranate. So we start from fruit. And we also have vegetables, like something like green beans and leeks, and what else do we have? The beets. So we have the simanim, and the question is, do we say a bracha before we eat them? So the first question is, do we say a bracha before we eat the simanim? And the answer is relatively simple. Before we eat the fruit, we need to say borei pri ha'etz. We do not need to say borei pri ha'adama before we eat the vegetables. So before we eat the dates or the apple and honey, or the first fruit we eat, we say borei pri ha'etz. And when we get to the vegetables, we do not need to say borei pri ha'adama. And the reason for that is that there's a halacha that when we eat bread, anything which is part of the meal, or usually the normal way to eat it is part of a meal. So the Birkat HaMotzi, it's Motzi Yedei Chova. Birkat HaMotzi also includes everything which is part of the meal. The bread is the main part of the meal. Everything which is part of the meal is included in Birkat HaMotzi. Typically, fruit are not part of the meal. You don't eat them together with the bread. If you eat it, it's for desserts, for something else, like a different section of the meal. You don't eat it in order to fill yourself. So for fruit, when we eat the fruit, we need to say Birkat HaEtz beforehand. They aren't included, but the fruit are usually not included in the blessing of Hamotzi. When we say Hamotzi, we need to say another blessing for the fruit, and we say borei pri ha'etz before the first fruit we eat. The vegetables, on the other hand, the regular way we eat those vegetables, leeks and beets and green beans, usually the way we eat them is part of the meal. So they are included in the bread. So when we say hamotzi on the bread, we don't need to say ha'adama on the simanim of the vegetables because they are included. And same goes for the fish or sheep if people eat lamb. So everything is included in the bracha of hamotzi. So now we answered the first question. Another question we have in brachot is in the brachot of ha'etz. What do we eat first? Do we eat first the dates, or do we eat first the apples and the honey? And if you look in different sidurim, you'll find two different versions. In some sidurim, I'm not sure if I can bring it now up online, but in some sidurim, you'll see that they have the dates first. Okay, so you'll see that they have the dates first. In other sidurim, you'll see that they have the apples and the honey first. And the question is, what do we do? What do we do first? There's a machloket. There's a machloket between the rabbis, between Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim, when we have a few different fruits and the bracha on them is ha'etz. The bracha on them is ha'etz. We'll be saying only one blessing of ha'etz, and we will include all of the fruit in the blessing. So we'll be saying only one blessing of ha'etz. And the question is, what do we choose? So Rabbi Yehuda says, we choose the fruit which is from Shiv'at Haminim, from one of the 7 species. So we choose the fruit from Shiv'at Haminim. And in Shiv'at Haminim, there's also an order. The fruit which is closest to the word eretz, it will be first. So it will usually be olives, and then dates, and then geffen, and then it will be grapes, dates, figs, and the last one will be pomegranates. Okay, so olives will be first, dates will be second, and from all the pomegranate will be the last. So according to Rabbi Yehuda, we go according to Shivat Haminim, that goes first, and then the rest of the fruit. On the night of Rosh Hashana, we have dates. So dates should be first according to Rabbi Yehuda. So dates should be first according to Rabbi Yehuda, because it's from Shivat Haminim. That's according to Rabbi Yehuda. However, Chachamim hold that it depends on the chaviv. What do I prefer? Hey, which fruit I prefer? If I like the most, now I want to eat all of the fruit. I'm planning to eat all of the fruit. So if I like the most the apples, so I'll be eating the apples first because I like the most the apples. So even if I have in front of me, according to Chachamim, even if I have in front of me, I have dates or other fruit from Shivat Haminim, but I like the apples much more. They are the most chavivim. I like them the most. So I'll say the bracha on the apples. Okay, I'll say the bracha on the apples because I like them the most. It's interesting that both opinions are brought in halacha. Okay, both opinions are brought in halacha. So there's room for both of the opinions. The opinion of Rabbi Yehuda that we go according to Shiv'at Haminim, the 7 species, and the opinion of Chachamim that we go to what I prefer the most. And here we come to Rosh Hashana. Many people, for them, Rosh Hashana Simanim, that's the apple and honey. There's even a song, dip the apple in the honey, right? I don't think there's a song for have dates. Yeah, have dates on Rosh Hashanah. Right? There's no song for having dates on Rosh Hashanah. We always want our enemies to be demolished and finished. But there's no song for that. We say to everyone, Shetchadesh Alenu, Shana Tova Umtuka, have a happy new year, like a happy sweet year, like the apples. So everything about Rosh Hashanah is apples is the favorite fruit, apples and honey. The kids come from Gan with drawings of apples and honey, and they get those small honey bars. None of them came with the date. None of them came with pomegranate, right? Or maybe they do come with pomegranates or drawings of pomegranates. But the honey and apple, as we know, is the most, people like it the most, usually. So what do we do? What do we do? If the fruit from the 7 species, Shivat Haminim, is not in front of you, you say a bracha on what you like the most. Okay? So many families, they make sure in the beginning they have on the table only the apples and the honey. They have the pomegranate and the dates. They keep it in the kitchen. They say ha'etz on the apples, and afterwards, when they bring the dates, they just say they hear Ratzon. They say the prayer when we bring the fruit. That's many families do. Others say dates, Shivat Haminim, the land of Israel. That's very special about Rosh Hashana. All the prayers go through the land of Israel. What's more fitting for Rosh Hashana than showing our connection and appreciation for the land of Israel? So some prefer to say on dates. What we do usually is one night we say on the dates, and one night we keep the dates and the pomegranate off the table. We say ha'etz on the apples, and then we bring the apples and the dates and the pomegranates. So we give place to each one of those opinions. So that's about what bracha comes first. And as we saw, there's room for both opinions, but if you decide to say ha'etz on the apples first, you should try and keep the dates and the pomegranates, have them off the table, and then bring them only after you eat the apples. That's about the brachot. Maybe just one word before we continue on. The fact that our sages went to the question, what bracha do we say first? What bracha do we, is that more something national? It brings, it's not just something here in halacha, okay, it brings a different perspective of brachot. When we say brachot, it is more of our personal experience, and then it really depends on the fruit I like the most. Or when we say brachot, we are trying to connect to something much bigger than us, to go out for our personal zone. And if we're trying to go out from a personal zone to connect to something much, much larger, so fruit from Shivat Haminim, they should be first, because doesn't depend on what I like more. It's what's more important in our connection to the land of Israel. And the connection to the land of Israel is the connection to our whole nation. So maybe that could be something about the argument between Rabbi Yehuda and Chachamim. Now, let's go just for a few minutes to all this idea of Simanim. We eat Simanim on Rosh Hashana. And it comes from Abaye. Abaye says on Rosh Hashana, one should eat Simanim. And he brings a list of different fruit we should eat. And sometimes we ask, what's the idea of eating something? Okay, I ate something. How is that magic here? Is that something mystical? What exactly are we trying to reach or get by eating those simanim? Is it more of a prayer? What is it? What is it? And there's many, many nice explanations. What they're trying to do here. I'll touch very, very short in two explanations. One explanation of the Maharal, and another explanation is more my explanation, although it's based on the Meiri and other rabbis. So I'm not making it up. And you should know there's other explanations also who see by eating those fruits something that itself is special. So we'll start with the Maharal. The Maharal, also based on the Ramban. So Maharal lived about 400 years ago. Ramban lived almost 800 years ago. So we're talking about something which goes far away, early to the early days. And he says that every bracha needs something physical to reach to. And we see many times the Nevi'im, the prophets, when they had a prophecy, they did an action. So when we do an action in this world, it helps the bracha to get some kind of form in the world. So when we pray, so it's still something maybe a bit abstract. We're praying, we're saying words, but when we eat something, when we see something, when we see the simanim, we're connecting the bracha more to our world. So when the prophet, when he does an action, he's connecting the prophecy more to the world. And also when we eat the Simanim, we are connecting it more to our world, and that helps this what Hashem wants to give us, helps it to come into actual life, because it's more connected to the life. A similar idea, if we're talking about brachot, when one says Birkat Hamazon, he should have some of the bread still on the table, even if it's a few crumbs. And the question is, why? Well, why should they have some of the bread on the table? If it's a nice amount of bread, maybe if there's a guest, a poor person, he can give it to him. But why crumbs? And the explanation is that when we say a blessing, we want the blessing to connect to something physical in this world. Judaism always tries to connect between spirituality, the abstract world, and our physical world. And it's a very hard connection to do. So we're always striving towards this connection. And when we have a bit of bread left on the table, we can see the bread we're saying Birkat Hamazon on. When we say, we thank Hashem for the food He gave us, we don't just feel it in the tummy, we don't feel satisfied, we can also see a bit of the bread left. It helps the bracha to be part of the world. And so with the Simanim, the idea is that the abstract, our prayers go and connect to something physical in the world that we are doing. We are eating something to show our connection, and it helps us to bring it down. That's one explanation. Another explanation is that Abaye, and we won't go into all the Gemara now, you can even see hints to it in the Gemara. Abaye says, Simana miltahi. What a person does affects the way he feels. Okay, affects the way he feels, and you can see it a bit from the Gemara beforehand. Okay? And as I said, I'm just touching it just in the base of it. So Abaye says, when a person does something, he behaves different. He feels different. He'll see himself in a different way. Therefore, the Gemara says, before Abaye, the Gemara says, a person shouldn't do something which he might see a bad thing on himself. Because if he sees something bad or negative on himself, and the Gemara brings going to a room, a dark room, checking if he has a shadow. We won't go into it now. You can look in the Gemara in Horayot, Yudbet 12a. And if a person does something which will affect him in a negative way, so he will have the negative around him. Why? Because he treats himself in a negative way, and therefore it will rebound to him, and something negative might happen to him because he did something which causes him to view himself in a negative way. Says Abaye, on Rosh Hashana, we should do things which will bring us into more of a positive prayer and a feeling of something which grows, Rimonim, that grow fast, and all the fruit and vegetables that he brings there, something which grows fast, as Rashi explains, and it puts him more in a positive way. And if he's positive, so he'll pray more for himself. He says, I have a chance. I could daven. I could grow myself. I could achieve more things. So he's already in a positive place. And on the daytime, when he hears a shofar, he'll pray, and when he davens Musaf, he'll pray, because he says, I have hope. So why not to pray? I have a potential. I should daven for it. That's if we start Rosh Hashanah in a positive way. And that's the idea of the Simanim. That could be one of the ideas of the Simanim. Based on that, it's not just eating the fruit and vegetables. It's also making sure we create a positive atmosphere around us, as the poskim say. One should be careful not to be angry at his family on that day, because he causes tension, and then he'll view himself. What, on Rosh Hashanah, I was upset on my family. Now, so I'm a bad guy. I'm a terrible guy. I shouldn't be forgiven. So he'll look at himself as a negative way. We should look at ourselves as a positive way, and that could be one of the explanations of Abaye. So we saw here two explanations of why do we eat Simanim. And those explanations take the Simanim to something which is different. It's the way we relate to the world. As I said, there's a few more explanations, and we didn't go through all of them. And we'll conclude with one more halacha, and that is Shehecheyanu on the second night of Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so Shehecheyanu on the second night of Rosh Hashanah. And someone asked me, I think it was 2 days ago, someone asked me 2 days ago, what do we say Shehecheyanu on? What can I say Shehecheyanu on? Where does that question come on Shehecheyanu on Rosh Hashanah? And Rosh Hashanah we have something interesting. On one hand, on one hand, it's a different day. We have the first day of Rosh Hashanah, the second day of Rosh Hashanah. It's like a new holiday. So a new holiday should say Shehecheyanu on the new holiday, since we have a new holiday. On the other hand, for some aspects, we view the 2 days of Rosh Hashanah as one long day, Yom Arichta. And the same that on Sukkot. Okay, same on Sukkot. We'll be saying Shehecheyanu only on the first day of Sukkot, and that's it, and that goes for all of Sukkot. And for Chanukah, we'll be saying Shehecheyanu on the first time we light the Chanukah candles, and that goes for all the Chanukah candles. So maybe also on Rosh Hashanah, we should be saying only one day of only one blessing of Shehecheyanu on the first day, and that's not on the second day. Halacha lemase, okay, halacha, the second day has an importance of its own. Okay, it has an importance of its own. It's as if like the first day. So Levi said the second day has an importance of its own, and we do not need. We say Shehecheyanu on Kiddush of the second day. We say Shehecheyanu. It's like starting a new day, as if we are going again to Rosh Hashanah. It's something new. We're going again to Rosh Hashanah. That's the beginning of the year. A second chance for a beginning. So it's like we're going to the. We just say Shehecheyanu, and that's it. But like we call it to be safe. So just in case we shouldn't say Shehecheyanu on the second day. So we try to have a new fruit, okay, and maybe a new shirt or something new that we say Shehecheyanu on it. And then when we say Kiddush on the second night of Rosh Hashanah, the main mind for Shehecheyanu will be for the new day we are coming into, for the new day of Rosh Hashanah, for the new holiness that's coming now to the world on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. So that should be the Shehecheyanu. That's the main part of the mind should be for Shehecheyanu, for the new day we are reaching into now. Also, just to make things more smooth and safe, we're also thinking of, we have a new fruit, so we'll say Shehecheyanu on the new fruit. We have a new shirt, we'll be saying Shehecheyanu on the new shirt. But if someone doesn't have a new shirt or doesn't have a new fruit, they still say Shehecheyanu on the second day of Rosh Hashanah. Okay, so even if you didn't find a new fruit, you still say Shehecheyanu. What do we say Shehecheyanu on? And we say Shehecheyanu on usually or fruit or shirt. Fruit should be something which is renewed. We apples, for example, we have them all year round. I'm not sure how they keep them, probably refrigerated. Bananas, I think they have all year round. Even if now we get bananas or apples from the new crop, we can't say Shehecheyanu on them because they aren't renewed. But when we have a new fruit that we didn't eat before in this season and we didn't have it beforehand, for example, oranges we have all year round, but clementines or and there's now they're selling in the shops kobo, which is pataya, or squints, I think, different fruit that we didn't have beforehand during the summer. Now we have them, and we are happy to have them. So we say Shehecheyanu because they are renewed. What about shirts? So here, in the past, when a person bought a shirt, something new, how often does a person buy a shirt? Today, many of us, I have a shirt, okay, fine. I need to buy a shirt. Okay, I'll buy a shirt because we don't have the same joy when we buy shirts. So in a regular shirt, maybe we don't say Shehecheyanu, unless it's something, a special shirt, an expensive shirt, a new jacket, okay, something which we're really happy, a new talit, something which really makes us happy, then we usually say Shehecheyanu. Many times women, if they buy now a new set of clothes for Rosh Hashanah, they all say Shehecheyanu on the new set of clothes. But for men, usually a white shirt, okay, fine, another white shirt. We sometimes even buy it without even thinking too much. We just buy it and that's it. So that's for the Birkat Shehecheyanu. But if someone bought a nice new shirt for Rosh Hashanah and is very happy for wow, that new shirt, so we should say Shehecheyanu on that shirt. And as we said, when we do Kiddush, our mind is mainly for the new day, the new spirit, the new that's coming in Rosh Hashanah, and also for the new shirt.